What's up YouTube? Today we're going to be comparing the Sigma 17-50 f2.8 lens against the standard kit lens that comes with a Nikon camera to find out if there's any difference. Alright guys, so this is not going to be a super over techie review and comparison of this lens. This is going to be an everyday life situation, how this thing performs. So we've got a lot to do here in under 15 minutes, so let's get this thing unboxed and get right to it. I've been in the market for an upgraded lens to the Nikon D5500 that I'm shooting on right now. The kit lens does a pretty good job. I'm able to get some pretty sharp photos with it, but what I'm looking to increase is a little bit more quality with the portraits, a little bit better video, better low light, and so I've been out there shopping for lenses and they're a ton of money. I mean, you could spend $1,500, $2,000 on a lens easy. So I've been trying to find a little bit lower cost alternative, and I stumbled on this Sigma 17-50 f2.8 that has the optical stabilization in it. And I thought, okay, well that's going to work for my video. It's going to work for shooting portraits. It's a pretty good all-around lens. The question is, am I going to be disappointed in buying this lens for, I think I picked it up for 380 bucks on sale, or should have I saved up and spent the money for one of these $1,000 plus lenses? Am I going to get enough difference that I'm looking for versus the kit lens versus this Sigma lens here? Over the next couple months, I'm going to be taking this lens with me everywhere. I'm going to shoot landscapes, portraits. I'm going to take it up into the mountains. Here in a couple weeks, I'll be heading to California. I'm going to take it there, shoot some video with it. Just try this lens out in low light, sunny situations, just to see the comparison of how well it performs against the kit lens. In this first test, I'm going to be taking some landscape shots of a pond with a little bridge that goes across the pond. Going to shoot this fairly late at night or late in the day to kind of get a low light situation to see the differences between the two lenses. Alright, so now let's jump into the computer and take a look at the two lenses on how they compare with this landscape shot. Alright, so you can see over here on the left, you've got the Nikon lens here, 18-55, and then over here on the right, you've got the Sigma 17-50. Now, first off, the biggest thing that I see as a difference is primarily the colors. If you look at the color of this railing here with the Nikon lens compared to the Sigma lens, it looks a little bit darker, and I think the brown's a little bit lighter here. This tree right here I think is a little bit more true to the color. It's a little bit more yellow. The other thing, if you look at over in this right hand corner, you can see that the green is really clear compared to over here. I think it kind of gets a little bit distorted in the Nikon lens. Overall, these are both really pretty close. I think just with that lower f-stop, you're able to pull in a little bit more light, which allows the colors to just be a little bit more in depth, a little bit more color there to them. Overall though, in this landscape shot, I would say there's not a huge difference. Definitely if I had to pick out of these two pictures, I would pick the one here on the right, the Sigma lens. Wasn't quite the improvement that I was looking for. I was wanting quite a bit more out of it. Maybe if I played with the settings a little bit more on the two, I could have maybe pulled a little bit more out of either one. But overall, I definitely feel like the colors primarily in this low light situation do make this picture look a little bit better. Now we're going to be heading up into the mountains. I've talked to my daughter McKenna at coming with me to shoot some portraits up in the mountains to see how well this lens does shooting portraits.
What is this? 1621. I thought it was like a mile and 621 feet or something. I was like, are you kidding? Or like, I don't know, some sort of a super thing. You know?
Now we number these trails like they do roads.
Venturing out in the wilderness, having a good time, getting some pictures. He's doing some drone. Yep. Okay, he's getting some drone footage.
Alright, now let's compare the portraits using the two different lenses. So definitely with these two lenses you can really see the difference, especially in the out of focus bokeh look background. Looks much better on the Sigma. The other thing, if you look at the color of these jeans here, you can see a lot more detail in the Sigma lens versus the Nikon lens. This looks a lot smoother, you can see a lot more of it. The colors just overall look way better, especially the skin tones here. There's a big difference between these two lenses. So definitely where this lens shines is in this exact situation here, where you've got kind of a medium light, low to medium light situation here, shooting portraits. This lens really does a fantastic job. All right, guys, I'm heading up Weaver Canyon, heading to a distillery just outside of Park City, Utah. Should be awesome. Gonna get some footage of the brewery there with the Sigma lens and the Kit lens and see how they compare. Alright, so let's take a look at the outside of the distillery here. If you look on the Nikon lens, look at this wood right here. It's a little bit lighter versus the Sigma. I think this ends up being a little bit better true color to it. And then the other thing here is on the outside of the building, the detail of it is a lot sharper on the Sigma, or a little bit sharper on the Sigma and a little bit more blurry on the Nikon. But overall, both lenses did a great job at capturing this image right here. So as far as landscape, you know, I feel like the Nikon really holds up against the Sigma here. You know, and compared to the portraits, you know, the Sigma really made a pretty big difference. On this landscape shot, it's pretty close. However, it is a little bit sharper in the Sigma. All right, guys, I think that's enough shooting for Utah. Let's get on a plane and fly out to California and see how this lens does on the beaches of California. Alright, so in California it was pretty dang sunny on the beach, and I picked up one of these 77mm filters here to darken up the picture a little bit, which is basically like wearing sunglasses on your lens. You can see that in comparison in size against the kit lens how much smaller this is. And really, I believe that probably helps. That larger glass there is going to help with the low light. And that's where this lens really shines. Specifically, we went into Disneyland, into the Pirates of the Caribbean, and there's a really dark spot there right at the beginning that we were able to shoot with the GoPro, and you can hardly even make anything out with the GoPro. It's just super fuzzy, dark, can't see anything. And surprisingly, with this Sigma lens and the Nikon camera, I was able to make it out. It doesn't look absolutely perfect. Obviously the lighting in there wasn't quite ideal, but you can still see it and it still looks pretty clear. Alright, so as far as shooting video with the two lenses, I definitely prefer the Sigma. They're both pretty close as far as the stabilization. The Nikon has the VR to help stabilize the shot, and the Sigma has the OS, which is basically the same type of technology. And I primarily shoot handheld, so I need something with that stability to be able to get a fairly steady shot. And I feel like both lenses perform pretty well there. But the biggest difference is definitely in the low light. The Sigma is able to get a clearer, cleaner picture. Okay, so here you have a close-up shot using the Nikon and the Sigma lens. Now, in both shots, I focused in on the G here. So you can see the main focus point was both right on the G. And if you look at those two areas, I think it's a little bit sharper on the Sigma versus the Nikon, but overall pretty close. The biggest difference I see here between these two shots is obviously the background. That lower f-stop is going to give you a little bit more of that look there if that's what you're going for. Now I think both of them really turned out pretty good, pretty close, but I think if you look specifically at the blacks compared to here and here, you get a little bit better look to it with that darker color. But you can see how much difference the colors make, just allowing more light into the lens at that lower f2.8, where this is shot at f4 even. So you can definitely get more light into the lens, which changes the overall color, changes the overall look using the Sigma lens. Alright, so definitely I think it was worth the money to upgrade. I'm glad I spent the extra money. I feel like I'm going to really enjoy this lens, and for the inexpensive lenses that are out there, I feel that this one does a really good job, and I'm glad I bought it. It's going to be interesting to see when I save up to buy a higher quality lens, the difference between this lens and a high-end lens, but for now, I'm really enjoying the Sigma. Alright guys, thanks for watching this video. I hope that you found some value into it and that it'll help you in making a decision of whether or not you're going to buy a lens like this. Make sure you like the video if you liked it, subscribe to my channel for some more tips on editing and shooting video, and more camera video equipment reviews.